This is Kim and Neil with Geauga Firearms Academy.
What's up, America?
Thanks for watching. Today, we're going to talk about where to store your home defense weapon. We get this question often, and so I thought I'd give you some tips and tricks just with home defense in general. So let's roll into it.
All right, so let's talk about some Hollywood nonsense that's exactly that nonsense, which would be like taking a firearm and then putting this underneath your pillow so that you have it. Like, okay. Look, if someone made it all the way from outside of wherever you live, all the way into your bedroom, before you even had a chance to know what's going on, it's too late. Yeah, you epically failed. There should have been like 5, 6 other steps that person would have to have alerted you somehow before you got there. So we'll get into depth a little bit about that. Also, like the bedside, you know, I just open my drawer and there it is. You have to be in a situation where you have to get up and go get something, okay? Again, so when the door gets blown open from your bedroom and someone's there, it's too late. It's just too late. We need to be prepared for what's going to happen. So hopefully we have some steps in place to get us ready to go. But the purpose for us getting out of bed is so that we have our cognitive awareness, because we're about to get a tool that could end someone's life. And we want to make sure that we're aware exactly what we're doing and that we positively identify that it's a threat.
Definitely, because think about how many times you've taken a nap and maybe you didn't feel good or something, you wake up and it's like 7 and you're like, is it 7 a.m.? Is it 7 p.m.? You're like, where time is it? Like, you don't even know what's going on. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're very aware of what's happening.
Especially if you're one of those folks that has different shifts, like whatever your job may require. Sometimes you work night shifts and day shifts. They can get very confusing, I know firsthand.
The next thing you have to think about too is accessibility. So there's this balance where we want it to be very accessible, but also, you know, everybody's a little different. We have different family dynamics, children, some people don't have children, some people do. So you want to make sure it stays in a safe area from those people who shouldn't have it, but also it needs to be accessible. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the condition of the gun itself. And this is going to vary based on your comfort zone and training and knowledge and stuff like that. But one of the things that we have for self-defense is that I keep a rifle and I keep it loaded in a certain way. I keep it stored, I should say, in a certain way. And I'm going to show you with this pistol just because it's handy. It's going to be the same setup.
And we're using Snapcats, obviously,
Snapcats.
in the studio.
So the magazine on the rifle is loaded, okay? It's in the actual rifle itself. The bolt on the rifle is locked open. Okay, safety's on. And it gets stored way up high where nobody other than an adult could get there. We'll talk about how we even get there in the first place. And the purpose for this is I can do one of two things that will completely make the gun cold and safe, or hot and ready to go. So if I press the magazine release on the rifle, and again, I know it's a pistol, but you'll understand the point. Once this falls out, the chamber's still open because the bolt is locked open, the gun's unsafe, and there's nothing in it. Or I would press the paddle, and that would load, the bolt would come forward, and now I have a round the chamber and hot, ready to go. So with one of two things, either pressing the magazine release, we're cold and completely empty, or by pressing the bolt release, we're hot and ready to go. So I keep it up there. So there's at least yet another step just in case, but it's going to happen extremely fast, less than a second.
We also did a video. We actually have one of those outdoor keypad locks on our bedroom doors, so I'll put a link if you're interested in that. But it just creates, we obviously have safes inside of our room as well, but just another step it automatically locks after 30 seconds, so our room door is always locked, and so we are the only ones who can access it. Because obviously, I'm a firearms instructor, he is too, he's a police officer, so we have lots of firearms, and I need a safe place.
No, I lost all of ours in a boating accident. It was very unfortunate.
So let's talk about if you do have a handgun. Some tips I give often is that make sure, like Neil said, it's somewhere we have to get up, and then with it, you want to have your handgun. You'll want to have a handheld light and then your phone. And why that's so important is we've seen so many people, they want to...
But I have a light on this gun.
I know, that's because of the training. But so many people just go out and they waste all this money on these weapon-mounted lights, and they get no training with them. And then they come to defensive pistol level 3, where it's half day, half night, and it's like a funny house in there. There's strobe lights going off, and people are realizing that what they bought isn't really what, they don't even like how it operates. So if you're gonna have a weapon mounted light, you should get training. But even if you do, it's a good idea to have a handheld flashlight, because you gotta think, you need to identify the threat. And the last thing I wanna do is find out it was the dog that knocked something over and I'm pointing my weapon at my dog, or a child.
There would be people out there that if I turned this on and pointed at the camera would lose their minds because, I don't know, somehow the round's gonna come through the camera system and end up in your living room. Just by that would bother people. So imagine that I'm trying to find somebody in my house with my kids or friends of kids or whatever, and I'm pointing live guns at people to find out who they are. That's why the handheld's so important.
So a nice handheld flashlight with a big button on the back,
tail cap
switch, so that it's not some little thing on it, because it sounds easy, but you know, imagine it's 2 a.m. and you think someone's breaking into your home and you got, your hands are shaking and sweaty and you got tunnel vision and your ears are ringing. The last thing I want to do is try to find this little tiny button. So something that's easy to turn off and on right next to my handgun. The other cool thing is having those night sights. So not using them for shooting just in the dark, but what I like about them, you don't just like start blasting, but what's great is that they glow at night. So it makes it really easy, don't you think? When I go walk through my room, I can see that's exactly where my handgun is, so I can easily access it. So having that flashlight, having your handgun, and then most importantly, having a plan, and not only having a plan, but making sure everyone knows about the plan. Because if you have this great plan, but you never told your family, and you guys don't, or maybe talked about it one time and you haven't mentioned it again, what good is it to you if you're not practicing and using it? Also thinking through different scenarios in your head on exactly what you're gonna do, who's calling 911, everyone knows exactly their place and
where they're supposed to go, yeah. By the way, night sights is a marketing term. They're not for night, they're for low light. Mm-hmm. Like if you can't see anything except 3 glowing dots, that's pretty useless because we can't positively identify what the threat is. So don't get that confused.
And should the guys just run around naked?
Run around naked, yep, absolutely. I fully endorse that. Run around naked with your gun trying to find people. Or maybe a better idea would be that you all get to the same room in your house, which we'll call the safe room, and you can defend that single point. Because the rest of the stuff in your house, by the way, can all be replaced other than the people. So that's going to be in the room with you. And the only thing you're doing other than looking ridiculous running around your house naked is that you're saving the insurance company money. And I promise you, whoever your insurance agent's company is, they have plenty of money. And they don't need you to defend your stuff with your life for something stupid like a TV, okay? People will put themselves in a situation where they end up getting harmed or harming someone else because they put themselves in a situation they didn't need to be in. You can replace your stuff. You can't replace your kids or your family like that. Get to the safe room, and you defend one position.
Very good. And also another thing, a lot of people don't think about is what are you going to do when you do call 911? What are you going to say? So things like that, just start playing it all out in your head so you have a plan. You don't wait until, you're there at 2 a.m. Make sure that you've planned this out and you have a plan in place and you practice it and use it.
And just a little tidbit here. Know what device you're going to be using to call the police, because it probably won't be your primary cell phone because it's at 2 a.m., you're startled, and you're getting your family there. There should be some kind of communication in that room. I'll just leave it at that.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think one of our best classes is honestly our defensive mindset and emergency medical care class. Everybody wants to do all the cool, self-defense and like hand-to-hand.
Can you teach me to be a ninja in the next hour? No.
And if you know anything about that, you would know that that's ridiculous, because unless you're training consistently and practicing, that's not something you learn in an hour. But what I can give you in these classes are things that you can take with you every day, because if you can save yourself from being put in that situation, that means so much. Like, so we talk about, when you're out and about, how to stay safe. And then we go over creating that home defense plan, exactly all the steps that we encourage you to take. And then the second part is the emergency medical care, which is very important, because if you're gonna have a gun, if you can poke them, you should patch them. You'd be able to patch them because it might be yourself, a loved one. And also too, if you're gonna save a life, you're way more likely to use medical training any 100%. Day over a handgun, or a firearm. So it's a really cool class. We get really into the role playing and making it more realistic and real life. Like, so we don't just sit there and go, here, put a tourniquet on me.
I'm always into role play.
Yeah. there's a mat. It's fun. And then we have a cool, some cool tools. Like we have a limb that pumps this synthetic nasty blood, but it's very realistic.
So we'll be role playing with twice.
Yeah. So if you guys are local, you want to check that out, we'll have that up on the website. And if you're not, then look for other training like that in your area. See if you can't get in a class like that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like, a share, a comment. We always love to hear from you.
And click that bell, because I know out of 150,000 plus subscribers, based on how many people watch videos now, you guys are not getting all the new updates. So make sure you're getting your updates on when we put out videos for you guys.
Awesome. And you can also follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. We put our stuff on Rumble. And then, of course, we have our Patreon channel. We appreciate the support on there. And we put special videos that are only on Patreon there as well. Until next time, remember, it's always better to judge by 12 than carried by 6.